In February 2022, the world woke up to shocking news as Russian forces crossed into Ukraine from multiple directions. What many believed would remain a political crisis suddenly turned into the largest military conflict in Europe since World War II. Missiles struck major cities, tanks rolled across borders, and millions of civilians were forced to flee their homes. The roots of this invasion go back many years. Ukraine was once part of the Soviet Union, but after the USSR collapsed in 1991, Ukraine became an independent country. Over time, Ukraine began moving closer to Western nations, especially the European Union and NATO. Russia viewed this shift as a threat to its influence and security, believing that NATO expansion near its borders would weaken its strategic position. Tensions increased in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea, a region of Ukraine, after political unrest in Kyiv. At the same time, fighting began in eastern Ukraine between Ukrainian forces and Russian-backed separatists. Although peace agreements were signed, they were never fully enforced, and the conflict continued at a low level for years. In early 2022, Russia gathered a massive number of troops near Ukraine's borders. Russian leaders claimed they were acting to protect Russian-speaking populations and to prevent NATO expansion. Ukraine and Western countries rejected these claims, saying the invasion was unjustified and violated international law. When the invasion began, many expected Ukraine to fall quickly. However, Ukrainian resistance was far stronger than expected. Soldiers and civilians defended cities, while President Volodymyr Zelensky became a symbol of national resistance by staying in the capital. Ukraine received military, economic, and humanitarian support from the United States, Europe, and other allies. The war caused immense suffering. Cities like Mariupol and Bakhmut were heavily damaged, thousands of civilians were killed, and millions became refugees. Energy and food supplies were disrupted globally, affecting countries far beyond Eastern Europe. As the conflict dragged on, it became clear that this was not just a war between two countries but a struggle over global power, security, and the future of international order. Sanctions were placed on Russia, economies were affected, and military alliances were strengthened. Today, the war continues to shape global politics. It serves as a reminder of how fragile peace can be and how deeply historical tensions can influence modern conflicts. The story of the Russian invasion of Ukraine is not only about territory, but about identity, power, and the human cost of war.